Rehearsals. I'm the director, and our entire cast and crew is teenagers, so this was a completely teen-run show. And one special thing about tonight is that our playwright, Bill Cissna, is here, the playwright of the show. And tonight, after the show, stick around and you can ask him some questions about the show.
This is Mr. Bill Cissna, who is sitting here. And it's really fun because obviously some of the dialogue is borrowed from Oscar Wilde's famous play, but the rest of it is all from the mind of this gentleman here. And so I just love to have his point of view on what he saw tonight. I believe we're the first youth company to ever perform. Yes, so this is the first youth company to ever perform this play. And I told them last night I was really proud of them for that because it's quite an honor actually to have that. And although the piece was written for older actors in your mind, it was really fun to see it come to life with these guys, and I think they did a great job. So I will turn it over to Bill.
And I want to just say a few words before we get started about the fact that my wife, Kathy, who was the physical stage manager of the first production of this show and then played the stage manager in the second production of this show and is sitting here watching the third production of this show. She and I have been in a lot of theaters and a lot of places and involved with community theater for some number of years, as you can probably tell from the play. And also, I have done a lot of research on other theater companies that I've never been to, but in promoting a play, you try to learn about the theater company, what kind of thing they do. This program is really, and sadly in my mind, one of the few in the country that I've run across that's anything quite like it. And I think you saw the results of letting these guys loose with a show to have fun with this very evening. So I'd just like to give another round of applause to these folks who did it. And then I want to thank you for picking my play to pick on, so that's really great. Yeah, as people do ask about where the show came from, it came from lots and lots of years of my wife coming home from community theater events that I was not a part of and telling me very interesting stories. And then I'm not a great volunteer sometimes, but I have volunteered with a particular community theater company that shall remain nameless, but Kernersville, is as involved as a producer and several other things, and I've worked on lights and I've worked on sound over time. And if you've been in the theater at all, you may have recognized a few things that happened this evening. And then there were several others that just came out of, well, this scary place up here. And we did the second production just really in May, three weekends in May. And the folks who did the production came up to me after the end of the show and they said, you know, we've been talking about this for 3 weekends now, and there's only one thing in this play that has not happened to us. I said, so it was familiar to you then, right? And they had a lot of fun with it as well. But I think it really starts with the idea of an anonymous small theater, community theater that wants to put on a play, and one of those people at least knows they are in deep trouble. And then everything else happens. And I don't want to really curse it, but this has been happening with the show as it's being produced, is that sometimes people come and go from the show. People don't make it to the end of the production. And so I'm a little scared about that. But anyway, the best one that I will relate is that when it was not really a community, there's a community group in the Greensboro area that produces one new show a year, and they wanted to be a North Carolina playwright, so they offer playwrights the opportunity to write in and send in a copy of a new script. And this particular year, they had 7 scripts come in, and they picked Rehearsals. So that was the very first time it got on stage. And we literally threw the guy who was playing Lord Caversham out of the show at the end of dress rehearsal before we opened the next day. I won't tell you anything more about it because it's not really a fun story, but it's funny in the rehearsals world. So it's just been a lot of fun for me to watch it come forward and to be able to, well, for multiple reasons, work with Oscar Wilde, who is ideal husband, and particularly the importance of being earnest, which Kathy's done several times and which we love as a play, and just his wit and his humor. And of course, it's out of copyright, so I can do pretty much what I want to with it. And as you could tell, particularly with, say, Bonnie's character, I did a lot of things with it because she changed lines a lot. But it was just the whole idea of what all can go wrong. And probably you've heard of it. There's a play called Noises Off, which is a British play set in a little bit different kind of a world because they are supposedly professional touring theater group. And even then, things go badly wrong. Very expensive set. And so my idea was that, you could do almost nothing for a set for Wilmertown's production, and it would be right for the play because they have $40 and a few extra screws in the back. But that was the whole idea of setting out. Was first of all, I'd written 4 plays before this, and they were all very serious, and I was getting depressed. So it was time to write it. It was time to try writing something funny, and I found that over time and a lot of work, it actually came to this. So thank you guys for interpreting all of that for me. So with that, are there questions to the cast, from the cast? How long does it take to create a play like this? Well, for me, and I have several playwright friends who I envy deeply because they have ideas about every 15 minutes, and I just hate them for that. I have to come up with an idea first, and then there's a fairly popular genre in plays right now too called 10-minute plays that are very popular because you can put a bunch of them together in a little festival, and they're to a specific time, and they're simple sets, and they're cheap to do, and they usually don't play the playwrights either. So I come up with ideas when I do, and then I get serious about it. And I used to have actually better discipline about writing like every day or trying to work on the play every day. This one, I have to say, came along pretty quickly. Because I was already working from an existing script. I'd already, I spent some time with Ideal Husband, and I decided, okay, what do I want them to see, and what will be hopefully enough to carry at least the basic idea of the play through what we in the theater call the play within the play. And then the rest of it came pretty naturally because these are all characters I probably met to some extent or another along the way, and I wanted them to be individuals, but I needed certain things to happen. I needed to have when an adult group would do this play, they'd have 2 older people playing Edward and Maggie, and that's why Maggie's forgetting her lines all the time. And Bonnie has no excuse. And then the other thing I wanted it to do was, you've almost probably never seen a play that has a lighting designer and a set designer in it, that are actually part of the play. So being as whatever I've done in the theater has very little of it's been on stage, most of it has been on the tech side. I said, it's time, Come on, guys. They put up with nonsense with the community theater just like everybody else. So it was probably the first draft about 3 months. I have others that, well, again, as I get older, my lack of discipline starts to have effect. I've had some take a year, but sometimes that's also, I'm working on 4 projects at the same time, and then the one thing we have done really from the first one that I wrote is that we've gotten to know enough actors that once I'm really at a good first draft or third, whatever it may be, point, then we get a bunch of actors together in our living room dining room, den, wherever we do it, kitchen, bathroom, I don't know. Depends on how big the cast is, really. And we do a read-through with people that I know and trust and love to hear, because like these guys have, bringing their own feelings and acting and sense of humor and, one of the first things I thought about when we found out we were going to be doing with a teenage group, I thought, well, they've got the attitude. and that proved true, because we actually came down Memorial Day weekend and got to see part of the first act being done for us, and we just said, they figured it out, no problems. But yeah, the time is it really kind of depends on what else is going on, but 3 months is probably the shortest time I've spent on a play, a full-length play, and I've had the idea for one that I'm starting now that I've probably already got 5 months in it just thinking about it, but I've written 2 pages. So.
In the process of writing, how do you avoid becoming oversaturated in what you're writing, it being too up close to it to be able to make any progress? What do you normally do to take a step back?
When I am in the process of writing, I don't do that. I want to see it through the first draft, but I think the biggest trap you can fall into is thinking, well, the first draft's done, it's ready to go. I want to get through that before I even start the thought about, okay, now what's wrong with it? When you get to be creating these guys' characters, sooner or later they take on a life of their own. I mean, literally, I'm typing the words that they're saying to me in my head, but they've already decided who they are and what they're going to say next, and whether they're going to be the obnoxious director or the cheerleaders or the whatever they're going to be. So I don't want to shut that down at any point. I just want it to roll until I either run out of ideas or I have to research something, because in a lot of my plays I'm doing a lot of research too. But that's when the work begins. If you got the first draft and it's going to run about 2 hours, you're in good shape to start editing. So, and then that's where also the sit down in a room with people that are not me, because I always read it aloud myself for timing, if for nothing else, and I start to learn some clumsy places or things that aren't rolling right for me and so forth. But until I hear it from the actors and I can steal their ideas and all that stuff. Sometimes Literary and Kathy knows this, that they will be reading a line that I've given them and they muff it in one way or another. And I go, that's better than the line, okay. So you can't do it in a vacuum, I think, until you're past that first draft. But I usually don't try to step back from it. I try to stay in that world, because when it's rolling, they're still talking to me.
I was going to ask the cast if I could give you one word. I'm going to go down all of you, everybody, crew, you guys too. The one thing that you feel like your takeaway from this piece.
Well, the only reason I'm here as crew is because someone else who was already crew couldn't make it, and I already wanted to be tech, so my sibling just brought me here, and here I am.
Woo!
Sibling, right here.
Coming in clutch.
This has been my first community theater play, so I would definitely say memorable.
Memorable first community play. Well, we're glad to have you with us. All right.
Definitely hilarious. This was very funny and fun people to work with.
Hilarious. Fun people to work with. I couldn't agree anymore. All right.
I would have to say very chaotic, because it's good, but chaotic at times.
Yeah, controlled chaos is kind of how I would describe. I was trying to find ways to describe this play. It's like kind of controlled chaos. So good. I like that word.
I would like to,
Don't stop eating, please.
I would have to say innovative. This is my first community theater show, and I was in the ensemble. And then halfway I got swapped to Edward, so I have to be innovative and create a character while everybody else This guy made me laugh so much during rehearsals, I couldn't stop laughing, so I couldn't do any character development.
Oh yeah.
We all blame you, Chris. All right. So, yes, innovative, and you were innovative. I love your take on this character.
So for me, this is a year since my first community show with Wonka to the T, and I pulled pieces of my characters from all the different directors I've worked with so far this year, and so I'd like to say that this show is just as extravagant as Wonka's been, and just as extravagant as I hope all my other shows will be.
Extravagant. All right, great.
No.
Okay, why new?
Because it's different.
Because it's different. Okay. All right. Okay. A lady, a few words. But I love your take on this character too, by the way. All right.
I would say confidence, because I got casted and I wasn't expecting like too much, but they gave me the script and I'm talking to the audience by myself in like so many different scenes. That was a lot.
Yeah.
So I definitely gained a lot of confidence after this.
Excellent confidence, and she did a great job, didn't she? I love that. Okay. All right.
Realism. I've been doing theater since 2012 and been on and off stage doing tech and acting, so having both perspectives, knowing what all goes into a show, all the difficulties, all the pit stops, all the issues that go on and all the ups and downs. It's very realistic, and it was fun to be a part of something that was so real.
Real, and she knows. I mean, you've been up in the booth a lot, so I mean, this one has done a lot of time behind that, up there in the heat. Yes.
I probably say perseverance, because like Tucker, who played Edward, I also got swapped in for a different role.
What?
I was playing Edward, and then I got swapped in for Elliot, and I definitely had to keep trying and just keep developing the character as I went along, making choices. Even yesterday, which probably wasn't a good idea, but so needed to have a lot of perseverance for that.
Perseverance. Wow, these are all great words. All right.
Very funny, comedic, because this is like my first show I ever done something funny, which I always want to do because I want to be like a funny guy, and it's like my first show that's not like a workshop. I was like in a lot of workshop shows, and it feels great. It feels great to It feels great to improvise. Do something that is out of the bounds of your area and just improvise a lot of things.
Okay, so a bit of a risk, but he was confident.
Yeah.
Yes, he was!
Yes, he was. All right. All right. I don't know where upstage you guys.
I'd have to say layered, because we had to play characters who were trying to play characters, and that was a little layers.
Okay. Layers upon layers upon layers. All right.
Just cool, because
All right.
Anxiety. This was my first role with more than 5 lines.
And I think again, a wonderful job, right? That scene at the top of that too, where you're going off, that cracks me up. I hate to be educated, or I'd kill me with a line every time.
Another thing to add to the anxiety is I have to try so hard not to laugh at my own lines in the beginning too.
Yep, they're all very funny. They are.
I would say especially confusing. Because I would go home and be like, oh, so mom, in the play, but not the actual play, like in the play that we're doing. Like, it was confusing.
Yeah, in the play that we're doing, in the rehearsal of the rehearsal. I know, we get a lot of that. I'm going to come back to you.
Get her first.
She's the director.
You ever have wasabi?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
All right. I totally get it. This is our producer here. That was our stage mount, real stage.
What's up, everybody?
Hi. You on? Okay. Proud. Yeah. So I produced this show. I've been here since the beginning. I've watched each and every person on this stage grow, and I cannot say anything else than proud.
Great work. All right, we'll wrap up this little portion of this talk back with Sophie Oliver, who is our director. Let me know if you did more than one word, but
We actually have a
hang on. We do have Sophie back there.
Do them first. Do them first.
All right. Okay. Wait, hang on. Oh, we got one here too. We've got Jordan.
Hi. I would say this show is relatable. As someone who has also been doing this since 2012, I've been backstage, in the sound booth, I've been a lighting designer, and all of the things Dave Neptune said, I was just like, yeah.
So true, so true. So I did ask you guys to go up on stage, but okay, all right. So that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's okay.
I had to make sure your mic works.
Okay, she's checking it out. All right, here we go.
Hi. Wow, thanks, Grim. So I probably have to say that my experience with this is most likely pragmatic of all things. It was really a learning experience for me because I haven't really been in much of a tech role where I've had like input on other people. This is my first time running A1 for a show where I can actually like tell things to people and they like work off of it. I usually work in costume design. And my first like on-stage tech role was in Vintage Hitchcock a couple of months ago. So while I'm not on stage this go round, it was definitely a learning experience and a wonderful learning experience it was to be able to work with everyone in this show and run as an A1 for the show itself.
Vocabulary. All right.
I would have to say catastrophe. No, I'm kidding. Originally, when I asked to do the tech for this show, I came here because I needed friends. And I have definitely gotten a lot of friends in this show. So, yeah.
Excellent. We are a family, and friends and family for sure. Back to Sophie. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you guys. You ready? All right.
My word is difficult. No, I got a good reason, I swear. Okay. So I've been doing theater, at least at this theater, since, whoa.
Gosh, Ace.
Wow.
I've been doing stuff at this theater at least since 2015. I've done stuff at other theaters like Rivertown and all that. I've done lightboard, I've done soundboard, I've done costuming, makeup, stage managing, assistant directing. But this is the first time like I had a whole show under kind of my control, and it was very difficult, especially since first half of this show I was preparing for finals in school. That was so fun, you guys. But I just sum it up as difficult, but it's not like horrible difficult.
Right.
Because these guys are awesome and made it less difficult every day.
Yeah, these guys.
These guys.
These guys.
And this is one of the things that one of my sort of mentor directors always says, doing difficult things well. And I always love that statement because it's true. Theater is extraordinarily difficult for all of those who are aware of what we've been through. Doing difficult things well is really, I think, our goal. So, Bill, to kind of wrap up and bring it back to you here, I think, so this doesn't just sort of go on and on and on. I know we wanted to just sort of keep this kind of a tight, quick conversation here.
Hey, Michael, we also have our lighting designer if you want a word from our lighting designer.
See? Sorry. All right, one word.
She's the best.
I would also have to say proud because this is my first like official show like from a script that I get to light design, but also this is my last Saax Bradbury show, as a Saax Bradbury player. So this is very exciting, and it will also be memorable. So, yeah.
Proud and memorable. I forget that you're actually, okay.
Out of high school.
Yeah, I know. Wow, they grow
For
up.
like a year.
Okay, so if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Is there anybody else that okay, I'm so sorry.
Not Stefan.
All right, come on. Never end.
Okay, so that's my bad. I was in the restroom and had no idea that we were So I just caught the memo like a minute ago, but I don't really have much to say for myself. I am actually the older brother of our lovely director here. Personally, I've already told her this multiple times, and I don't care, I'm going to say it again. I am extremely proud of all of this stuff she was able to put on by herself, and even with the help of the people here. And my God, I hope you keep doing stuff with all these other wonderful people in your cast. And yeah, that's all I got to say to you.
Wait, one word. What's your word?
What's your word? One word. Sum it up in one word.
Griffin, you're not making this easy. There's so many words.
Yeah.
Stegosaurus.
He's the real deal, right, Bill? Okay, the character, you can use that. Feel free, Bill. All right, so to bring it back to Bill, to kind of wrap up their conversation here, I think what is really, I also write some myself, and I think what's really exciting is when you see what happens from that kernel of thought in your head one day, and you start jotting all the stuff down, and then you get this, and you see the impact that it has on these people who are actually participating in it. Of course, then as we invite our audiences in to enjoy. I've laughed every time I've seen this. You guys are cracking me up through this whole thing. I mean, I literally belly laugh back there, and it takes a lot to do that. So I give credit to Bill too, because I think the writing is really strong in this. I think the play is really well crafted, and it's just fun to see, as you said, what they've done with your work. I hope we've made you proud, and who knows, perhaps there might be another piece of yours down the road we might be able to tackle. So appreciate you sharing your work with us.
Thank you very much. And I can't speak for Kathy, but I just sat there and laughed through the whole show. So you guys did great. And as you were saying, I mean, this is now third production. Very fun to see it being done, because it also, I don't want to sound crass about it, but it opens a new market that a young group can have it and take it and go places with it that we haven't seen before. And that is much to the credit of the program and you people in it, because one of our favorite things is to do what we can to build that next generation, because we love theater so much. And we aren't going to be around all that much longer. We need the new people to come in and take our place. So thank you guys for all the fun things, and particularly for me, the new things that I got to see tonight that I've just never seen before. So thanks again for everybody. Thank you, audience.